Members, this time we have a quorum. First, confirmation of verbatim transcript of the special meeting held on the 8th of October 2015. And also to confirm the minutes of the 5th meeting held on the 13th of November. Both minutes have been forwarded to members. Any questions, please? Any amendments? Confirmed? Okay, thank you. Matters arising, nothing special to report. Business arising from previous council meetings. Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on the 13th of November 2015 and tabled in council on the 18th November 2015. Legal advisor, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is paper number LS 10/15-16. It covers two items of subsidiary legislation. Both have to do with the 6th Legislative Council election and beyond. It has to do with the election expenses. The first one, Legislative Council Ordinance Amendment of Schedule 5, Order 2015. Now for the prescribed election expense subsidy rate, it will be increased from $12 to $14. The second piece of subsidy legislation is the maximum amount of election expenses Legislative Council Election Amendment Regulation 2015. For the different geographical constituencies and functional constituencies, the maximum amount of election expenses is increased by about 15 to 16%. For both LNs, they will come into operation on the 8th of January 2016. Because both sets of adjustments apply only to the 6th Legislative Council election and beyond, therefore they do not apply to the by-election to be held on the 28th of February next year. The administration consulted the panel on constitutional affairs on the 19th of October this year. Members expressed certain views. Members, do you wish to set up as a committee? Ms. Emily Lau proposes as a committee. Anyone to join, please? Thank you. The Secretary will circulate the reference papers. If I may remind members, the deadline for moving amendment to the subsidy legislation is the 16th of December. If the deadline is ended, it will be the 6th of January 2016. Further business for the council meeting of the 25th of November. Tabling of papers. Report number 5/15-16 of the House Committee on consideration of subsidy legislation. Mr. Tam Yu Chung and Ms. Chin Chung Kai of the Subcommittee on Geographical Constituencies subsidy legislation have indicated their wish to speak. So as the Chairman of the House Committee, I will be moving a motion to note the report at the meeting on the 25th of November. Bill's resumption of debate on second reading, committee stage and third reading. Copyright Amendment Bill 2015. 14 rather. Now this for this bill, the resumption of second reading debate is scheduled for the 25th of November, but some members have proposed over 900 committee stage amendments to the bill, so the Secretary will need more time to process and analyze the amendments. The President of the Legislative Council plans to push back the resumption debate by 2 weeks to the 9th of December. The administration is aware of the arrangement. Any comments from members, please? No? For the 25th of November Legislative meeting, it will start at 11 a.m. It will be adjourned at around 8 p.m. On Thursday, if necessary, the council will be resumed to complete the all business of the council meeting. Business for the council meeting of the 2nd of December 2015. 22 questions, 6 oral and 16 written. Bill first reading, moving a second reading. Financial Institutions Resolution Bill. Government motion. No notice has been received yet. Members' motions. Motion on combating acts of bid rigging in repair works of private residential buildings to be moved by Mr. Christopher Chung. And targeting the smuggling of wildlife by Dr. Elizabeth Court. The deadline for moving amendment to these motions is the 25th of November, Wednesday. A list of subsidy legislation. The deadline for amendment will expire on the 2nd of December has been tabled for members. If members wish to speak on any of these items, please so indicate before 5 p.m. the 24th of November, Tuesday. Report of Bills Committees and Subcommittees. Report of the Subcommittee on Commencement Notices related to 5 sets of amendment rules made under Section 73 and 73A of the Legal Practitioners Ordinance and gazetted on the 17th of July 2015. Dr. Priscilla Leung. Thank you, Chairman. Members, please. We have a meeting going on here. Please don't start your own meeting. Dr. Priscilla Leung. Thank you. As the chairman of the subcommittee, I would like to report the deliberations of the subcommittee. With the permission of the Chief Justice of the Court of Final Appeal, the Council of the Hong Kong Law Society has gazetted 5 sets of amendment regulations under Section 73 and 73A of the Legal Practitioners Ordinance on the 10th of in October 2012. The purpose of the 5 sets of amendment regulations are to update the requirements for a solicitor to account for any interest earned on the client's money. This is to bring the requirement in line with modern-day needs and to codify the requirements. The president of the Hong Kong Law Society gazetted the commencement date on the 17th of July 2015 to designate the 1st of July 2016 to be the commencement date of the 5 sets of amendment regulations. The subcommittee held a meeting with the Hong Kong Law Society on issues such as the fact that the amendment regulations will only come into commencement 4 years after gazettal, and whether the amendment regulations will apply to overseas law firms operating in Hong Kong. Members expressed their concern. The details of the deliberations are in the report of the subcommittee. The subcommittee has completed a scrutiny of the relevant commencement notices. The subcommittee supports the 5 commencement notices and will not be moving any amendments. Next, report of the Subcommittee on Rules of the High Court Amendment Number 3 Rules 2015 and Rules of the District Court Amendment Rules 2015. Mr. Abraham Sheck on behalf of the subcommittee.
On behalf of the subcommittee chairman, the Honorable Dennis Kwok, the subcommittee has completed scrutiny of the rules of the High Court bracket amendment, close bracket number 3, rules 2015, and rules of the District Council bracket amendment, close bracket rules 2015. The Legal Practitioners Amendment Ordinance 2012 introduced limited liability partnership for law firms in Hong Kong. This amendment ordinance has the effect of limiting the liability of innocent partners of law firms in limited liability partnership as a result of the default of the other partners of the firm. The 2 amendment rules aim to bring the relevant provisions in the amendment ordinance into operation as soon as practicable by prescribing court procedural rules for litigation as regards limited liability partnership. The subcommittee notes that the administration has consulted the Law Society of Hong Kong and will bring the 2 amendments rules into effect on 1st March 2016 together with the amendment ordinance. Details of the subcommittee's deliberations are set out in the report issued to members. Finally, the subcommittee supports these 2 amendment rules and has not proposed any amendments. Thank you.
Report of the Subcommittee on Consular Relations, Additional Privileges and Immunities, Cambodia Order, and Consular Relations, Additional Privileges and Immunities, Philippines Order. Mr. James Toh.
Chairman, this order has to do with additional privileges and immunities involving 2 countries, Cambodia and the Philippines. The definition in a number of areas, the privileges and immunities, PNIs, will be expanded. First of all, the definition of consular archives has been expanded to include data stored in electronic form, which is in line with the modern technologies. Second, in terms of the P&I of inviolability of consular premises, it has been expanded to the residence of consular officers. And third, the P&I of personal inviolability of consular officers has been expanded to their family members. The subcommittee has also discussed in relation to immunity from jurisdiction and consular functions concerning administration of estates in the Hong Kong SAR and the power of legislature to repeal or amend the two orders. Details of the deliberation are set out in the report. Chairman, I'd like to say that we understand that this order is basically prepared because of the CPG's views that the P&Is should be expanded, and Hong Kong has a limited role to play in this regard. So at least we understand the scope of expansion of the P&Is. But as far as Hong Kong's position is concerned, we are not greatly affected, and we have not proposed any amendments. Subcommittee on the 6 orders made under Section 49(1)(a) of the Inland Revenue Ordinance and gazetted on the 2nd of October 2015. Dr. Kenneth Leung.
The purpose of the 6 orders is to implement the 6 tax information exchange agreements in bracket tiers entered between Hong Kong and 6 Nordic jurisdictions, namely Denmark, the Faroes, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden. The subcommittee supports the 6 orders. During the course of deliberation, the subcommittee has studied the differences between the 6 tiers and the model agreement of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and has discussed issues relating to the administration's policy on exchange of tax information arrangements and tax examinations abroad. The tax types covered and the meaning of the term jurisdiction in the 6 tiers. The competence of the Faroes and Greenland to enter into tax agreements with Hong Kong on their own and confidentiality of tax information exchanged with these 2 jurisdictions. Both the subcommittee and the administration will not propose any amendment to the 6 orders. Members are invited to note the deliberations of the subcommittee as set out in the written report. Thank you.
Subcommittee on Building Standards of Sanitary Fitments, Plumbing, Drainage Works and Latrines Amendment Regulation 2015 and Building Administration Amendment Number 2 Regulation 2015. Would Chairman Ms. Alice Mack please report? Chairman, the 2 amendment regulations seek to update the standards for the provision of sanitary fitments in private buildings, in particular to increase the provision of female sanitary fitments in public places. The subcommittee basically supports the amendments. According to the amendment regulation, a ratio of 1.15 will be adopted for assessing the number of male to that of female in 6 categories of public places. Some members are of the view that the ratio of 1 to 1.5 for assessing the gender mix in public places cannot resolve the problem of inadequate water closets in female toilets. Some members believe that the ratio should be increased to 1 to 2. The administration has explained that the ratio of 1 to 1.5 is only the standard for estimating the flows of people. Under the amendment regulation, the number of water closets for female is higher than that for the same number of male in public places. It is also more than the number of female water closet fitments provided under the existing law. Therefore, the amendment regulation has taken into account the different needs of men and women in setting the minimum standards for the provision of male and female sanitary fitments. For example, under the amendment regulation, a cinema with a 250 seating capacity is required to provide fitments in the ratio of 1 to 4. Members are concerned that the new requirements are only applicable to private buildings and not government facilities and MTR stations. The administration has explained that the Architectural Services Department has progressively increased the provision of female sanitary fitments according to the enhanced standards in its new projects, as well as major renovations of government buildings. As for MTR stations, the MTRCL will provide toilet in stations as far as practicable and will provide toilet in new stations in the vicinity when planning for new railway lines. Chairman, both the administration and the subcommittee will not propose any amendment. The written report will be submitted in due course. Now, in relation to the 17 pieces of subsidiary legislation of the 5 subcommittee, the deadline for moving amendment is the 2nd of December, and the deadline for giving notice to make amendment is 25th of November. Ms. Emily Lau. I beg your pardon, I didn't catch it just now, and I wasn't the only one. In fact, many of us can't hear what you say. Well, in relation to the report of the Bills Committee and Subcommittee, well, please, first of all, speak into the microphone, and with the Secretariat, please arrange for a bigger mic for Chairman, like that for Mr. President. Well, I want to hear this once again. The deadline for moving amendment is a 2nd, or giving notice to make amendments is 25th. What about when it's tabled in Council? Well, if you don't speak into the mic, how can I hear you? Madam Clerk, please. Well, if you want to move an amendment, then it will be done on the 2nd of December at the Council meeting. I know, but what about if there is no amendment? If there is no amendment, later on a report will be issued. Okay, you don't have to issue that report. I'm not going to have a debate on at least Ms. Alice Mack's subcommittee's report. Many members will be speaking on the subject. I'd like to know when it will be tabled in the Council. Mr. Lam, if you have something to say in the debate, then do so on that date. You have no idea when it will be tabled? Secretary General. The 2nd of December. 2nd of October? No, 2nd of December. The 2nd of December, the Council meeting. Be prepared that we will be speaking on the subject. I will also remind members at the next meeting. Well, as I remind members just now, there are 19 amendments that have been tabled, and you should notify the Secretariat before next Tuesday. Position report on Bills Committees and Subcommittees. As of the 19th of November, there are 11 Bills Committees and 12 subcommittees under the House Committee, and 7 subcommittees on subsidiary legislation, 3 on policy issues, 2 on electoral affairs, and 7 under panels. Nothing under AOB.